Welcome back to the Narcissism Freedom channel, your safe place for truth, healing, and spiritual clarity. This is a place where your experiences are validated, your voice is honored, and your awakening is supported. If this message has found you today, it is confirmation that your spirit is beginning to recognize something your heart has felt for a long time. You were not imagining it. You were not overreacting. You were slowly being drawn into a psychological and emotional game designed to keep you attached and emotionally hooked without fully realizing what was happening. The narcissist never begins with control. They begin with connection. They present themselves as everything you have been searching for. They listen closely. They study your words, your pain, your hopes, and your dreams. They mirror your values and reflect your personality back to you in ways that feel almost magical. This creates a deep emotional bond quickly. You feel seen. You feel understood. You feel chosen. But what feels like destiny is often strategy. What feels like love is often positioning. This is the first phase of the game, designed to build trust and emotional access. At this stage, everything flows naturally. The narcissist makes you feel safe and appreciated. They may communicate constantly, offer reassurance, and create the illusion that you have finally found someone who truly understands you. Your guard lowers because there is no visible threat. But beneath the surface, something else is happening. They are learning your emotional blueprint. They are discovering what makes you feel valued, what makes you feel insecure, and what makes you stay. This becomes their map, and they will use it later to maintain control. Once you are emotionally invested, the dynamic begins to shift. It happens gradually. The consistency you once experienced begins to fade. Their attention becomes unpredictable. Moments of warmth are followed by emotional distance. Affection is replaced with silence. You begin to notice subtle changes in their behavior. This creates confusion. Your mind tries to understand what changed and how to restore the connection. This is exactly where the hook begins to take hold. The narcissist understands something powerful about human psychology. They know that emotional inconsistency creates emotional attachment. When validation is given unpredictably, your brain becomes more focused on regaining it. You begin to invest more energy and emotional attention, hoping to restore the version of them you first experienced. You are no longer standing in certainty. You are standing in uncertainty, and uncertainty creates dependency. You may find yourself overanalyzing conversations, questioning your actions, and trying harder to please them. You may blame yourself for their distance, believing that if you could just say the right thing or do the right thing, everything would return to how it was in the beginning. But the truth is, the beginning was never meant to last. It was designed to create attachment, not stability. This cycle of emotional highs and lows creates what feels like an invisible bond. When they give you attention, you feel relief. When they withdraw, you feel anxiety. This pattern keeps your nervous system engaged and your emotions invested. It is not love that keeps you attached. It is emotional conditioning created by inconsistency. Scripture reminds us in James 1 verse 8 that a double-minded person is unstable in all their ways. The narcissist operates from instability. Their emotions, attention, and behavior shift constantly because their sense of self is not grounded in truth. They depend on external validation to regulate their internal emptiness. This is why they cannot provide consistent emotional security. As time passes, you may begin to feel emotionally drained. You may feel like you are giving more than you are receiving. You may feel like you are losing your sense of peace. This is because the relationship is not built on mutual connection. It is built on emotional extraction. The narcissist depends on your emotional investment to maintain their sense of control and identity. What makes this game powerful is that it operates beneath your awareness. You are not consciously choosing to remain trapped. Your emotions are being conditioned. Your empathy, your compassion, and your hope are being used to maintain your attachment. Emotional conditioning becomes the chain. But something begins to change the moment awareness enters your life. Awareness breaks the illusion. Awareness allows you to step outside the emotional fog and see the pattern clearly. You begin to recognize that their behavior was never about your worth. It was about their need for control and emotional supply. You begin to notice that their kindness was conditional. Their affection was strategic. Their attention was given when they needed something and withdrawn when they felt secure in your attachment. This realization can feel painful, but it is also liberating. Because the moment you see the game, it begins to lose its power. Scripture reminds us in John 8 verse 32, "And you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." Truth removes confusion. Truth restores clarity. Truth returns your power. You begin to understand that your desire to love was never your weakness. It was your strength. The narcissist relied on your strength because they lacked it within themselves. They depended on your empathy to compensate for their emotional emptiness. And when you begin to detach, something important happens. Their control weakens. The emotional hooks begin to dissolve. The anxiety that once kept you attached begins to fade. You start to feel something you may not have felt in a long time. Peace. This peace does not come from them. It comes from your disconnection from the game. It comes from reclaiming your emotional independence. It comes from realizing that your worth was never defined by their attention. The narcissist may attempt to re-enter your life when they sense your detachment. They may offer apologies, promises, or temporary affection. But these attempts are often driven by their need to restore access, not genuine transformation. But you are no longer the same person. You see clearly now. You recognize the pattern. You understand the difference between genuine connection and manipulation. Scripture reminds us in 2 Timothy 1 verse 7 that God has given you power, love, and a sound mind. A sound mind recognizes truth and chooses peace over emotional captivity. You were never meant to live in emotional bondage. You were meant to live in freedom, clarity, and emotional stability. This is your confirmation today. You were not weak for loving. You were human. And now, you are awakening.